When you say they invaded,
Yes.
Well, but earlier on, you just 2 minutes ago, you said it was part of the Russian Empire of the USSR.
No, it was.
Okay.
It
part
was
of the
given.
USSR.
Wait,
It
wait,
was
wait.
given by Nikita.
You're
It wasn't-
you're
it was a
distorting
wrong
the
decision.
situation.
Denying that your state is not a fascist state.
My state is not a fascist
Why
state.
do you regulate speech? Okay. Why do you regulate culture? Right? Why, are you legitimizing elections when a big portion of the Eastern Ukrainian region didn't vote?
This is not Wikipedia. This is
Russian side
not
of free democracy in
This is not
Ukraine.
Wikipedia.
Free democracy in Ukraine. If it's got problems like you say, they've got to be dealt
He was
with.
put in jail by the Nazis, and we have people here saying that he was a staunch Nazi, and he was put in jail by the Nazis.
Yeah, why was
Because he was rebelling against the Nazis.
I'll tell you something else.
May I show
I'll tell you
evidence now?
something else. There's a man called Boris Nemtsov, a Russian politician. He spilled the beans that Russia was planning to invade Ukraine and take Crimea. He got assassinated next to the Kremlin. Yeah, this is what happens in a country which I consider has got a fascist government, like under Putin, where if you go against what Putin says, you get bumped off. Even if you're in Britain, you know, in Salisbury, dissidents have been poisoned by Novichok poisoning in Salisbury.
Putin straight mark, Putin straight mark.
Sergei Skripal and his daughter Yulia.
Novichok or
And
plutonium.
in London,
Novichok or plutonium.
a dissident got poisoned by radioactive plutonium.
I have here a
Alexander
picture
Yudchenko.
from Ukraine, 1940. It says, Heil Hitler, Slava Bandera. This is the same guy that you call a hero. You call this guy a hero?
Well, did Bandera make that poster or something? You know, let me
Doesn't matter,
explain
you're
it to you.
discussing things
Hold
which
on,
aren't
hold on.
relevant.
Let me face this allegation, because I like to face these allegations head
Everyone
on,
can
so
have a
that
look.
the opposition can't go back at me later and say, oh no, that means it's true because he didn't face it. What the Soviets were doing during these days was that they actually dressed up as the UPA and started exterminating the people themselves, which is something they did very often. It's something they did in the beginning of the war in Ukraine. They removed insignia from their military uniform, which means they looked like Ukrainian troops. They walked in the Ukrainian town centers and they just took over, just like that. Now that is a military crime right there. And you know, old habits die hard. Just like during the Soviet Union, they tried to give a bad name to Stepan Bandera. That's the same way they're trying to give a bad name to the Ukrainians right now.
Okay, now history talk, yeah? And us, as an uncompromising leader of the militant terrorist, uncompromising leader of the militant terrorist branch of our organization of Ukraine nationalists, Bandera became a Nazi collaborator who lived with his deputy under German protection after World War II began. In preparation for the attack on the USSR, the Nazi recruited Bandera's follower to act as a Ukrainian-speaking policeman and to serve into Ukrainian volunteer. Historian Karol Berkov, among the others, has shown that Bandera's his deputy and the Nazi shared a key obsession, namely,
He's making a mistake.
namely the notion that the Jew in Ukraine, that's why you were saying, and you were right, the Jew in Ukraine were behind communism and Stalinism, imperialism, and must be destroyed. Simple. Thank you.
Simple. Okay.
Case
That
closed.
basically sums up.
Nazi collaborator.
Respond.
Simple fact.
Communism, because he
finished?
blamed the Jew
Let him have a go
who
now.
were behind
Let him have a
communism and Stalinism.
Okay, you
That's
said
the
that
reason
already.
He fight with the
You
Nazis.
said it already.
Nazi,
Now this guy has a
Hitler
go.
has the same
Hello there.
Are you
Hello there.
finished?
I
His
let you
turn
speak.
now.
You let me speak.
This turn
I
now.
let you
Finished or not?
I let you
This man
speak.
is
You
from
let me
Okay, go
speak.
on,
Ukraine.
let him finish.
I
He
finished.
speaks now.
I finished.
Okay, thank you.
He just wanted me to say that I let him speak so that he
Yeah.
could say I'm finished.
Don't cut me out because I didn't
That's
let you
excellent. I love it. Very, very childish of you. Look, let me just ask you one question. Let me just ask you one question.
Yes.
Did you get that information from Wikipedia?
No,
It would be okay if you did.
no,
No, but it would be okay if you
no,
did.
no.
where
History
is
News
it?
Network. History
That's
News
perfectly fine.
Thank
It's
you.
perfectly fine. Now, I'm not going to question his source. That's not where I'm coming from. But I thought he was reading Wikipedia because then I could show him a little bit lower after Wikipedia talks about how Bandera cooperated with the Nazis. It explains that he was cooperating to fight against the communists who were actually trying to exterminate the Ukrainians. And later on, Bandera was sent to jail by the Nazis because he started creating a rebellion against the Nazi regime because he never actually intended on cooperating with the Nazis. And he was sent to jail. He was sent to jail. Oh, it's not the reason. It's not the reason. I love this. I love this. It's why I said never interrupt your enemy when he's making a mistake. And it's very easy to see all the mistakes in the pro-Russian propaganda nowadays. Because Bandera was a Ukrainian hero and not a single extermination was done during his time in ruling the UPA.
Really?
The only time he was in jail. He was in jail. He was in jail. You need to study some history because during the time that some Ukrainian military groups have done some pogroms on the Poles and the Jews, which is something I condemn, wholeheartedly condemn.
Why do you include the Jews?
Because the Jews
It was mainly
the Poles, but there was some.
You know,
What do
you're
you mean?
trying to include the Jews, so you make it
Because
look
they were
like
part
it's a
of-
Nazism against the Jews. No, it's
What do
not.
you mean?
It was mainly against the Poles.
It was also
it's
against
the
the
Poles,
Jews.
100%.
No, it was-
They may have killed other ethnicities,
no,
but it doesn't mean it was
100%.
Why do you include the Jews in that? It
Because
wasn't
they were
because of
also
Jews.
killed.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean they
including
did it
everyone.
because of the Jews. They did it because of the Poles, not because of the Jews.
Yes, they
That's
did
the main
also
reason.
because of the
Not
Jews.
the Jews, no.
What are you even
That's
talking
Nazi
about? Oh,
Germany.
okay, hold on. This is
It's a massacre and
this man, he's debating me because I'm including Jews in the people who are getting killed. He doesn't
Exactly,
want
yeah.
the Jews to
You
be
forgot
included.
about
He
the
doesn't want
Gypsies.
the killings of the Jews to be mentioned. And these are the people who support Russia. I think that says more than anything else. Now let me explain this. Let me explain the situation. Oh, he, anyway.
Just carry on.
No, it's another guy. So speaking of which, I hope I can catch back my train of thought right now because there's been a few interruptions. There's been some killings of Poles and Jews by some Ukrainians, which were.
Can you be more precise? It's the highest killing after the Holocaust. It's over 100,000 people.
No, it's not.
It's
The Holodomor was
A
higher
lot
than
more
the
died in
Holocaust.
Ukraine because of Stalin.
1933.
The
You're talking about the
Holodomor.
World War. We're talking about the World War here.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
The Holodomor happened before
Yes,
the
exactly.
Holocaust.
It was
no
way
problem.
before.
But the Holodomor was
Way
higher than the
before.
Holocaust.
And also, when you include other countries, when you say it was the Poles and the Jews, it wasn't just the Ukrainians that died in the Holodomor. There's a lot of people that died, including the Russians.
Mainly the Ukrainians.
Yes, mainly, but a
No,
lot of
no,
people,
no, no, no.
other people
A lot
died.
of people.
It wasn't just
Some
them.
Jews died
It
in the
wasn't just them.
Holodomor.
The Holodomor. Yes, you keep including the Jews. The Jews are
Hold on, hold on.
everywhere.
I don't-
They ban to
Look,
to
hold
die.
on. This is the difference between us. I don't mind including the Jews in the extermination of Ukrainians. You mind including
I
the
don't.
Jews in
No,
the
'cause you're
extermination of
including them.
Poles.
No, you're including
Why is
them.
that?
You're
I don't know.
No, you're including them.
I don't know
gain
why
some
that is.
sympathy.
Now,
So you
it
just
sounds a
wanna
little bit
link them for
suspicious
some
if you ask me.
reason.
But let me tackle the actual issue right here and now, because this is something we need to speak about. Bandera was not in charge of the UPA when these pogroms happened. Bandera was in jail, put there by the Nazis because he didn't want to be part of the pogroms. He didn't want to be part of Nazi Germany. He received. But look it up. Look it up
why.
right
I'm
now.
just gonna write
Look it up
the
right
problem
now.
is this: all these followers were in jail, or they participated.
A lot of them were. Some of them were.
Did they do
No,
something?
hold on. But I
I haven't finished my point, Francis.
Go on, go on.
Yes. These followers and all these followers, did they participate to a crime, some kind of genocide in the west of Ukraine?
Some of them did, yes. But that's why I'm a Bandera supporter and not a supporter of everything that his troops did when he was in jail. I mean, hold on a second. How can we blame Bandera for the killings that some of his troops, not all of them, some of them made when he was in jail? Exactly because he opposed those kinds of killings.
You don't need to be outside to order the killings. You can order the killings
What do you
from the
mean?
jail.
He ordered exactly the opposite. Go to the Wikipedia
fine,
page
fine.
right now. He ordered exactly the opposite. He gave orders to his troops. He said that Nazi Germany is not our ally, that we need to do what we can to resist them now, because they will do the same thing as the Soviets did to us, which is exterminate us by the millions. And that is why when Bandera came back to Ukraine from jail, his military group, the UPA, fought both against the Soviets and against the Nazis, and they were giving fake passports to Jews to save them from getting killed. That is what happened. I mean, you're shaking your head. I guess you don't agree with this. But you can look this up. Every single thing that I'm saying right now is true. Every single one of you is invited, in fact encouraged, to look this up. If you disagree, you can disagree as much as you want, but you can't disagree with facts, with what actually happened.
Do you want to talk about the killings of the Russian soldiers?
Okay, here we go.
What do you mean, here we go?
Disproven. He's disproven in one point. He jumps to a different point.
It's a war.
Do you accept?
It's a war
Wait.
crime.
Do you admit that you have been wrong when calling Bandera a Nazi? Do you admit you're wrong?
Of course not, because he
Of
is.
course
He
not.
was.
There you go. Then
He
we're
was a
not
Nazi.
we're not going to the next discussion until you admit that you were wrong, because I just proved you wrong.
Okay.
You see what I mean? I can't discuss with somebody who I disprove in front of a crowd and in front of the camera, and who still refuses to accept that he's been wrong. I can't debate like that, man. I'm sorry. It's pointless. Go on.
Can I go with the same article?
Go on. Read the article. Read the
same
article, please.
article, yes. So, you're right. The
Thank
Germans
you.
intended to keep Ukraine for themselves. They arrested Bandera for his introductions on the issue of independence.
Absolutely.
But released him in 1944 when he appeared at the popularity.
At the end of the war, around the end of the war, yeah.
That his popularity with Ukrainians might help stem the Soviet advance.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever the disappointment with the Germans, the Banderists, now he's talking to followers of Bandera.
The followers of Bandera, yes.
Yes, never disagree with the Jewish policy in Ukraine, which eventually killed over 1.5 million.
What, the Banderists under Bandera?
Jews.
The Banderists under Bandera?
Yes. they
Under
killed-
Bandera, with
yes.
Bandera out of prison. That's not what happened. There were, again, as I said, it wasn't a million. It wasn't a million.
It
The presence
says,
of Nazis in
the
Ukraine.
Banderists.
In what, in
which is
Ukraine?
the Bandera
No, I don't
follower,
deny their presence. I'm
have
saying that
killed
it's a very
over 1
negligible
million
amount,
people.
and they're not in positions of power.
Are you denying that your state is not a fascist state?
My state is not a fascist
Why do you
state.
regulate speech? Okay. Why do you regulate culture? Right? Why, are you legitimizing elections when a big portion of the Eastern Ukrainian region didn't vote? Explain.
I love the fact that you exactly. No, but hold on. I love the fact that you brought up the eastern regions in Ukraine, because I already proved to you in the discussion that we had, in the conversation we had, that you're wrong in this.
Yeah.
Because the eastern Ukrainian regions had already declared their independence from Ukraine before the election happened in Ukraine. Now I ask you, how are the Ukrainians supposed to take votes from a population that's hostile, that has armed militias patrolling the streets, patrolling the city centers, and refuse any kind of Ukrainian bureaucrats to go in the place?
Okay.
How are they supposed to vote?
So let me ask you. I'm sure some have abstained. I'm not denying.
What do you mean? So no. That's
Some
not good
have
enough.
abstained. No,
They did not
some-
abstain.
some
They
have
separated.
flagged.
They separated from
Okay,
Ukraine.
So I will expose your double standard here.
Please.
So you are saying that the Maidan coup was justified in 2014, right?
I think it was justified. Yes,
justified.
it started as a peaceful
Okay,
protest.
okay.
People started getting shot at. But
Okay,
first,
so-
before we go any further, I need you.
Are
No,
you
but
going to
I need you to admit something. I need you to admit that you were wrong when you said that the Ukrainians in eastern Ukraine were not allowed to vote because they didn't want to vote. They separated
I'm
from
not
Ukraine.
going to admit
You need to admit
I'm
you're
not
wrong. We're not
going
going
to
any
admit I'm
further.
wrong. Because
No.
there are people that
No.
wanted to vote and they were not allowed to.
They were not allowed. They separated from Ukraine.
No.
They had separated.
That's very convenient to not open voting
is
polls
it?
in those regions. Yes, it
Are
is
we
very
supposed to
convenient.
allow Russians who live in Russia vote for the elections in Ukraine? Is that really what we're saying here?
It's your population.
It wasn't. They separated.
It's your
They didn't want to be our
They are born there.
population.
They have families there for generations.
They willingly separated.
Ukrainians.
They willingly separated.
Didn't join Russia though.
They willingly separated still. Crimea joined Russia, and eastern Ukraine willingly separated.
Not the Donbass before.
The Donbass
Crimea,
hadn't
not the
joined
Donbass
Russia,
before.
but they already had Russian troops there, and they had willingly,
There was
willingly,
no Russian
they
troops in
separated,
Donbass.
they
There
separated
was
from
no Russian
Ukraine.
troops in
Nations don't
Donbass.
recognize that border. They don't recognize that Crimea is belonging to Russia.
Who?
United Nations. They don't recognize it.
Excellent, good.
It's an illegal
I agree with them.
annexation.
It's an illegal annexation. Thank you very much. Thank you very
They're
much.
still Ukrainian. They're not Russian. So you can't say that. They're
Hold
Russian.
on, no, wait, Kyle. Listen to me for a second. the Eastern, we're talking right now about the region in Donbass and why they were not allowed to vote. Now the reason is, no, allowed, I'm saying it like this, because they were no longer, according to them, according to what they wanted, they were no longer part of Ukraine. Nobody wanted to vote for Ukraine because they wanted to separate from Ukraine.
Okay.
They didn't see themselves as Ukraine anymore. You're lying. You don't understand what you're talking. Wait, stop. They declared the Donetsk Republic and the Luhansk People's Republic. The Donetsk People's Republic and the Luhansk People's
They
Republic.
were Ukrainians. He said it straight after.
Poroshenko said
He
you
said
also-
Guys, they
from
separated.
the
How are we having this conversation right now? This blows my mind on so many levels.
So how would they be separated if the UN didn't recognize it?
We couldn't send anybody to collect the votes because they didn't want to vote.
I understand. Look,
What do you mean convenient? They had armed militias in the city centers. They did not accept Ukrainian laws. They did not accept Ukrainian bureaucracy. If they don't accept Ukrainian laws and bureaucracy and Ukrainian rules, why should they be allowed to vote?
All right. I want to expose your double standard.
Go on.
So again, like our conversation got interrupted. There are cameras here. In your opinion, the Maidan coup was justified, right?
Yes.
So you're saying that the Maidan coup was justified, but the people, the separatists opposing the nationalist coup,
Was not justified. Yes.
They're terrorists.
Yes, that's
your
exactly what
double
I'm saying.
standard.
That's not a double standard because
That is a double
there's
standard.
very deep
That is a
differences
double standard.
between the Maidan
No,
and
it's
between
exactly the same.
in between the
It's
Eastern
exactly the
European
same
rebels. No, there's huge differences.
No,
The
it's
main
exactly the
difference
same thing.
is how it all started. And in Maidan, it started with a lawful, orderly, and peaceful protest with a huge amount of people going to Kyiv, going to the capital, and trying to persuade the president to actually go back on what he was doing, which was bringing Ukraine into closer relations with Russia, which is something he promised not to do. And instead, he had promised before he got elected to have closer economic relations with the EU. The Ukrainians went to protest peacefully. They went and they protested. And meanwhile, Yanukovych was scared by the amount of people, by the scope of the protesters, and he tried to intimidate them into going home. He started beating them up by the police brutality. He started shooting them. And then the Ukrainians started rebelling against it because they were getting shot at, they were getting attacked, they were getting beat up, their freedoms were being oppressed.
No, yeah, go on, keep going.
Okay, fair enough. I'm gonna call you a right? That
Call my go for
the
it.
Maidan coup was something defensive, was something that Ukrainians did to defend themselves.
Yes.
I'm going to explain you something. This happened in the last term of the presidency of Yanukovych, right? So if if your country really wanted to do something democratic and fair, they would have waited 1 year and then there will be new elections and they could elect a new pro-EU president. But they haven't done that. They have decided to rebel and take over the establishment. So if you support nationalists taking over the establishment by force, why you don't support separatists saying, no, we don't want to be a part of this?
Because the separatists immediately started rebelling against the Ukrainians. Well, the Ukrainians were trying to do it peacefully to persuade the Ukrainian president to actually go back on his lies, to actually keep his word. And Ukrainians, whether 1 year, 2 years, or 1 day, Ukrainians should not be forced to obey the laws that they did not vote for, that they disagree with. They have the right to protest. They went and they exerted that right, and they were getting attacked. They were getting shot. They were getting beat up. They were getting brutalized. And they deserve to fight back against that brutality.
They do, and they have the right to protest.
And they
also have the right to elect a new government, not take over the establishment by force, which is what happened.
They weren't trying to.
Hold on. That last election in Ukraine, that was a bit iffy. I mean, Putin was congratulating whoever it was that got elected before the result was known.
That's true. That's true. He was congratulating Yanukovych before he got elected. I think it means a lot because Yanukovych is a Russian puppet. Everybody knew he was a Russian puppet. But in those days, okay, hold on. You guys might ask.
The American involvement in every
Okay, here we go. What about this? What about this? What about this?
Okay,
Here we
great,
go.
yeah, finish
Okay,
on.
so let's talk about
you
Ukraine
about
and Russia. Actually, let's talk about. Go on, no problem.
A question as well. It's how I feel about it.
Go on.
I look at the situation in Crimea. Now, Crimea was originally part of Russia, am I right?
Yes. When the Soviet Union separated, Crimea was part of the Russian Soviet Republic,
Now,
of the
my
Russian
feeling
People's
is-
Republic,
now
I
my
think.
feeling is-
Something like that.
If Crimea wants to break away from Ukraine and join Russia, if that's the will of the people in Crimea,
Yeah. 70% are Russians.
they should have the right to do that.
Yeah.
In the same way, if the people in Ukraine
Yeah, the Donbass.
want to break, wherever it is in Ukraine, want to break away from Russia and look west to the European Union and NATO, they should have the same right to do
Exactly.
that.
Fair enough.
And that's how I feel about
Yeah.
it. That's how I feel about it.
But that's not what happened, is it?
yeah.
That's exactly what happened.
That's exactly not what happened. What happened actually is that Russia, instead of trying to ask Ukraine to give an election to Crimea and to Donbass, whether they would like to leave or remain, Russia simply invaded Crimea with their troops,
alright.
occupied Crimea,
Okay.
and then did a referendum at gunpoint with their troops and their reporters being allowed to vote in the referendum.
No.
In the-
There's a clear contradiction there. When he said they invaded.
Yes.
Well, but earlier on, he just 2 minutes ago, he said it was part of the Russian Empire, of the USSR.
No, it was.
Okay.
It
part
was
of
given.
USSR.
Wait.
It was given by Nikita.
You're
It wasn't-
you're
it was his
distorting
own
the
decision.
situation. It was given to Ukraine. It was offered to
Who
Ukraine
gave it
as
to
a sign
Ukraine?
of friendship.
Who gave
The
it to
Russian
Yeltsin?
leader,
The Russian
Yeltsin.
leader- It's not Yeltsin. It's way before.
I
It was
think
Nikita.
it was
Nikita,
Yeltsin.
1954.
Khrushchev.
So, no, it was Nikita. Yeah.
Nikita Khrushchev.
Yeah, Nikita that gave it to them. Yeah.
I don't remember
So,
who exactly
yeah, it
gave it
was
to
him,
them.
it
I
was him.
admit
So
it.
he
But
gave
it
it.
doesn't matter
So
who
when he
gave it to
say-
them. What
when he
matters
say
is it
invaded-
was given.
Yeah, it was given. So they took it back. When he said they invaded.
What do you mean they took it back? Dude, you don't just give something to someone and then just take it back like that.
You know
Okay,
why?
look,
You know
I'm
why?
gifting this ring to this beautiful lady who I
Yeah.
want to marry.
It makes
But
you-
then a year after I say,
It makes
okay, I'm
you-
gonna take the ring
It's
back.
morally wrong, but it doesn't make it wrong.
Yes, it
It's
does.
morally
It's
wrong, but it's
theft.
not wrong. It's my
Dude,
stuff.
it's
I
theft.
take it back.
No.
That's the first thing. And the
No,
second-
it's theft.
No,
If
it's
you
not.
take,
The
you don't know
first
the
thing-
law, man. If
What
you
do you mean?
if you gift something to someone and they keep using it,
was
and then you
gifted,
take it back,
not-
it's theft.
It wasn't going through any referendum. It was a sole decision by Nikita. He decided.
So what?
Well,
it was
one
accepted
person
by
decided.
Russia. It was
wasn't accepted.
It was
wasn't.
accepted
If
by
it was,
Russia.
They wouldn't be happy to go back to Russia. 70% of the people there, you only got 10%.
You know why it was accepted by Russia? I'll tell you why. Because in those days there was no hatred between Ukrainians and Russians. But now there is hatred because the Russians have brought that hatred on themselves, and because the Russians started hating the Ukrainians because of their propaganda and their brainwashing and their government pointing the finger and saying they are Nazis. That's why there is hatred now. Because of Putin, because of his ambition, and because of brainwashed people.
Okay,
that's
good.
why.
Now, are you going to condemn the atrocities done by the Ukrainian army? We saw video. Everyone saw the video.
In
Killing.
every war.
No, hold on.
If
No,
by
it's
the
a
end
war
of
crime.
this
I'm
war,
talking about war
if
crime.
by
I'm
the end
talking
of this
about
war,
crime.
if
I'm
the,
talking
by
about
the
war
end of
crime.
this
Can I
war,
finish the
if,
question?
no, I'm already answering it. I'm
No,
already
no.
answering
How
it.
can you answer the question?
I know what the question is. You already told me, but go on.
All right, let me finish. Yeah. So now you've committed so many atrocities there. It's war crimes. Are we going to see them held accountable to it? Are they going to go to the ICC? Are they going to be held accountable?
So first of all, you're starting from a false premise, saying that there have been atrocities committed.
Well,
they
we
haven't.
have.
There haven't been proof. There's no
Because
proof
if you're gonna-
of actual
hold on,
atrocities.
hold
It
on.
hasn't been.
Hold
No, no.
on.
Yeah, I'll let you
No,
finish.
no,
Let me
no,
finish.
no, no,
I'll let
no.
you
Because
finish.
if
Let
you're
me
gonna
finish.
deny
I'll let you
those
finish.
atrocities,
Let
then
me
we're gonna deny
finish.
every atrocity
Okay, we're
done
not
by the
going to be
Russians.
able to speak if we don't give each other time to answer.
go ahead.
Now I'm going to answer you. Thank you very much. When this war is over, when a proper investigation is held, and if the atrocities are proven, I will condemn them. Before that, I will not condemn Jack. Anything. I will not
Russians?
condemn a single thing.
Russians?
What Russians
gonna
did in
condemn the
Ukraine,
Russians?
what the Russians did in Ukraine is obvious. Because
Oh,
they
it's
have
obvious.
bombed,
Well, it's
because
obvious.
entire
So you go
cities.
in the court of
the-
law.
oh,
It's obvious. There's no need to.
okay, hold
You
on.
just said it.
Let's compare the accusations
Waiting for
here.
the court case.
Let's compare the accusations. I think, hold on guys, I think a good metaphor for this situation is, on one side, you find a dead body in a room during the night and you ask, who did this? Some people say, oh, it was that guy, his name is Ukraine. And we're like, okay, maybe he did it, maybe he did not. Let's check it out. Let's find out who actually
Let's
did it.
check it, yeah.
And now, on the other
Remember this
hand,
word.
on the
Let's
other
check
hand,
it.
we have a one, and he kills him
Do
in
we
front of
check it?
everybody.
Do we check it, or
and
just
and we're
know?
like, and these individuals are acting as if those two cases are exactly the same.
They
Oh,
are.
oh, that was Ukraine. Yeah, it's proven. It's proven. It hasn't been proven.
Okay, so
the atrocities Russia did have been proven.
How?
How?
You said after the war.
Satellite
The only
im-
way is after
Sa-
the war.
Which
Bucha.
Satellite.
Bucha.
Really? So
Bucha.
the butcher. So you're talking about satellite.
Satellite images
are proof.
They're one of the many
So,
different
no,
proofs
hold
that
on.
we
If
have.
you go to a court of law and you say satellite images, would that hold in court? Would that be enough evidence? Was that a
Hold on.
conclusive evidence?
I love
It
that
was
example.
committed by Russians.
I'll answer that. I'll
How?
answer that.
Okay.
I'll answer. There will
Photos,
still be
how
a
do we
court.
know? Okay, how do we know the timing of the photos or the videos? How do we know the timing?
Again, satellite images. We can see the timing
Yeah,
on the
that's
satellite
why
images.
who?
Who's supplying those?
Oh, who's supplying those?
Yeah.
Okay,
No,
okay.
'cause-
I'm going to
because
say,
why is it one rule for
the
one and one
UN
rule
is
for
supplying
another?
those, and he's gonna say we can't trust the UN.
Of course we can't trust them. Of course not.
So who do you trust? Russian media?
No.
An independent
So we don't trust
an
anyone.
independent-
Where are we? What are we doing? What's this
Independent
place?
investigation,
An
not highly
independent
likely.
Oh, yeah, sure,
No, they
independent
might have,
investigation.
Not because they were there. The Russians were there. People
Sure.
died. Doesn't mean it was them.
Independent-
Why? We can
independent
argue saying
investigation.
the moment they left, the Ukrainians came over and they killed them.
Of course, of course,
Yeah,
of course.
how can you
of
prove
course,
that?
you know.
Can you prove that that's wrong?
Of course,
Can
of
you
course. The
prove that?
Ukrainians just killed themselves.
No,
Yeah,
why
the
not? Why
Ukrainians
not?
just
They've
killed
They've been
themselves.
bombing people in Donbass.
I think there's a theme going on here. There's a theme going on here. There's a theme going on here. The Russians claim that in Maidan the Ukrainians were shooting
but-
themselves.
okay.
Russians claim
You're
during this
deviating.
war
Can I
Ukrainians
ask
are
you a
bombing
simple
themselves,
question?
and Russian claim
Pavlov.
that in Bucha Ukrainian killed themselves.
I'll ask you this
Now I
question.
think it's a little bit questionable at this point. Might as well just say, oh, you know, the Jews just gassed themselves. They just killed themselves, right?
Why do you
The
always
Nazis
this
were
year, why do
blameless.
you always bring up the Jews in the middle? Why do you
Because
have
it's
to
a
do
similar
that? Why do you-
situation.
No,
That's-
no.
it's a
There are
similar
atrocities.
situation.
It's
There are
not a similar
atrocities
situation.
all over the place. Even now, right now, people are dying.
The Western media.
The media
Yeah, they
strategy.
try and bring up the Jews in the middle. No, we're not talking about the Jews. 6 million, that's a Holocaust, that's a bad thing.
I want to debunk
We don't
what
wanna
this
talk-
guy is saying.
But no, one question. Right.
Another one.
No, it's the same question. I want you to answer it. Yeah, it's the same question that I asked
Which
you.
is?
Now, when you say that video or loads of videos that we saw of Ukrainian soldiers killing Russian soldiers, you said the only way to verify is after the end of the war.
Yes.
And it has to be done independently.
No,
Or
it has
by-
to be done by
whom?
people who will investigate. I never
Okay, by
implied
investigators.
independently.
Okay, after
Whoever
the war.
wants to investigate
how-
it can investigate it, and then we, the people who watch it, will define who has the most trustworthy source.
Okay, so why would you not use the same for the Russians in Bucha or everywhere else? Why would you not?
But I am.
No, you're not. You just said no.
Yes, I
We
am.
saw the satellite.
No,
We
hold
saw
on, hold
the
on, hold on.
satellite. You
No,
said
wait.
images of satellites.
Let me answer,
No,
let
that
me
can't
answer.
be
Let me
verified.
answer.
It can't be.
Let
we
me
can't
answer.
verify the timing.
Let me answer then. Okay. So as I said, same example as before. If I shank this individual here now, no hard
Okay.
feelings. I love
Listen
you.
to this,
I love
yeah.
you, man.
Listen
If
to the
I shank
analogy,
him
yeah.
right now,
Yes.
if I shank him right now, and he falls on the floor and dies,
Yeah.
every single one of us can clearly see I just shanked him.
Yeah.
But there will still be a trial.
Yeah.
To find out what exactly happened.
Yeah.
And the same way, there will still be a trial for what the Russians have done in Ukraine, except that we have so much more evidence, so much more proof, and it's so much clearer what is going on.
What's
It's
the
such,
proof? What's the proof? Bring
it's
the proof.
so much, such a bigger scale of what's going on in Ukraine
What is the
that we
proof?
can
What
all
is your
see
proof?
what's
You
going
just
on.
your proof
We
is
would all
something
be
that-
able to see if I would stab somebody right now. We all able to
okay.
see
Stop
what
that.
Russia's
No, hold on.
doing in
Okay.
Bucha. You guys are
In
just
Bucha,
choosing to be blind.
Is there a video?
There will be an investigation.